Somebody's mad at you for their magic not working on you, and seems like they're kind of hung up on it. We've got the spell is cast, let go, in reverse. And following up that last reading where we were talking about nemesis and corruption, I wanted to see what might inevitably happen in the wake of overcoming corruption, because one of the first things, I don't know, that you see happen when somebody overcomes something big, something oppressive, they still try to discredit that person, anything and everything to maintain the perception, maintain the image. And this was quite the interesting card to come out. So I don't know if you're dealing with a practitioner, could be, could even be a closeted practitioner, somebody that would villainize you for your beliefs, your practices, but then go do it behind the scenes to try and use it against you, something like that. It could also be a wordsmith, because words are spells, and I feel that very deeply, very Irishly. That's a very integral part of Irish society. So something's going on that they're doing something to you and they're mad at you that it didn't work. Go figure. And I think this might be happening right now, because I got on the dice roll Leo, Sun, and the 8th house, which I wasn't really getting Scorpio vibes from. I was more getting August from that, which is also Leo season. So I think this is a right now thing. So what they try to do? Moon? Keep something secret? Try to hide something? We're kind of seeing that in the last reading too. Maybe trying to hide assets? When it was keeping your path obstructed. So hiding your path. So what about that? Hiding the path. And they're mad at you that it didn't work? Like, okay, be mad about it. Whatever. Is that one? That's one. Illusion. Secrets. They're really trying to hide something. Really trying to keep you in place. Could also be mad that maybe the flavor of magic they're using isn't working. And since I set out to do a witch reading, I'm just going to stick with the practitioner theme. It could take multiple forms. But that mirror and that mirroring energy. It's like is this a destiny swap? I hate that term. It's so nonsense. You can't do that. Good morning, my little princess. You already had breakfast. And there's dandelions down there at the bottom, and they're at the last stage where you would make a wish on them, and there's a lot. But there's none in the reflection that I can see. So it's like a destiny swap isn't working. So what are they trying to swap? What's this mirror business about? Meow. Good morning. This fell right out of my hand. 3, 4, I'll take those. Kind of sideways. Six of Wands in reverse. 3 of Cups. Strength, more Leo energy. Oh, there's 5. Something was hiding. Ace of Swords and King of Pentacles. Now these last two, this is giving me King Arthur vibes. Excalibur, and then the Earthen King. Good morning. Good morning. We already had breakfast. The Six of Wands. That was also in reverse in the last reading. Like, not wanting you to have your success, your celebration, but they want it. So you do the work and they get the results. That's bogus. No. How would that even work? Because if they're oppressing you in some way, persecuting you, which is a form of oppression, how would you be expected to produce the results that they're trying to steal if they oppress you? And there's a tornado in the back of this strength card. Interesting. And she's actually really getting along with that lion, scratching him on the chin, keeping the tornado at bay. So it's like she sees a real problem. She sees through the illusion. The problem isn't the lion, it's the tornado. It's a much bigger issue. But then this Excalibur energy. Do they think, and this is another term, I use different language for these just because some of it feels very overused and egoic, but do they think you're chosen? And they're trying to take that from you? Like, how many stories do we have about that? About somebody trying to take the destiny, take the crown of the chosen one, right as that clock chimes. It doesn't go well. It always goes to, I'm going to say the hero. I prefer that language, the hero's journey, because it doesn't have to be spiritual. It can be a completely secular pursuit. And I don't know, I feel like that language can be very exclusionary, like chosen one and such. So it doesn't leave room for everyone to step up in their own way in all the various forms that the hero's journey can take. Whether it's completely personal, it's just between you and yourself, you and a higher power, or you and your community. It's however it takes form. But the important part is that you answer the call. You can't, whomever this person is, you can't just kind of linger around and swoop in after somebody else has answered their call, because that was their call, not for them. Everybody has their own unique things to bring to the hero's journey. Like, I've got the gift of gab, and one of the aspects of the Morrigan is to rally warriors to battle. And the way that I view when you have contact with a deity, when you experience gnosis, it's not because you're special. It's not because you're some messiah, something like that. It's because you have something they want. A skill set, you're in the right place at the right time, something that furthers their collective, which is a relative statement. Because that could be, think of that in context of Loki. That could mean something very different. And if you answer a call for a skill set that you don't have, it's chaos. It'd be the same thing if it was like a job or something, and you took an important job from somebody who was qualified, and then the person that actually gets a job isn't qualified, and it's a pretty important job, and then everything gets messed up. It's just they're not following their own calling. And the damage that does to the community around them, because it's not going to be just between, the impacts are not going to be just between these two people. It's going to be the enablers, the flying monkeys, anybody that's in the King Arthur person's life. They're going to be affected by that too. Just not great. So why are they after your spot specifically? What's the deal? There could be numerous reasons why someone might want to do a proverbial destiny swap. So why are they doing this? High priestess? They want to be a high priestess? Okay, do the work. Leadership. Maybe they want to be a leader in whatever respective system this is occurring in. Okay, do the work. That's you have to do that part. Just trying to kind of slot in after somebody else has done the work, everything's going to fail after that. Because the right pieces aren't in place. Maybe somebody doesn't appreciate the amount of years that it takes to go into, or that people put into a witchcraft practice. Because we see the tarot readings, various tarot readings online. Those are anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour to however long. What you don't see are the years and years of nose in a book reading about tarot, mythology, psychology, human behavior, like all these different things, all these various special interests that go into that collaborative, complicated skill set. Because it is a form of storytelling, and you have to know a lot about people to tell effective stories about them. So what about this high priestess? Actually, I want to get a rune. Do that first. What about the high priestess? Crossroads? Hecate? Could be who they're devoted to. Fan of her myself. She's loud with synchronicities. Can't miss them, at least in my experience. Even jarring sometimes. Maybe they're conflicted. Like maybe they don't have the earnest belief at heart, but is that like somebody that's trying to absorb the witchy aesthetic? Something like that? Not looking into various things that people say on the internet about witchcraft? Because it's not like an accredited thing like a university, you know, that has like a standard curriculum, anything like that. It's a very personal journey. But the crossroads, it's making me think of Crossroads Demons, that urban legend. And it came from a blues player that he left that town, wherever it was, and he went and practiced. He did the work. That's why he came back as good as he was, but he was also a savant in his own right. I think that's the right word. But blues was his calling. And how spiritual is music? It's so moving. It can dig up things that you've tried to keep away from yourself, that when they need to be felt, they need to be felt. That's magic in and of itself. Things that let you connect to yourself, building those bridges. But I think that's part of what made it seem supernatural, is because he was answering his calling, so he took to it really quickly. When somebody takes to something really quickly, that might be their calling. It's what they're naturally good at. There's this, I don't know, pattern, I suppose, in our society that we're so determined on homogenizing people that we squash out the very thing that they bring to the table that could change the world, change their community around them. But it's like, same, be propagandized, like, pledge allegiance to the flag. Very, everybody stay in line. So maybe they're trying to attach to their individuality. Maybe they're trying to go through this individuation process. But they're trying to like hop on the train on yours. I don't know. That one, you can only do that yourself. Go on with that. Balance. Trying to become balanced. Well, going after somebody is not... Trying to destiny swap someone is not the path towards balance. That's a path within. It's kind of giving me that like witchy archetype, kind of detached, very wise. Kind of Aquarian. It's that Aquarian energy. And I think the nodes just switched too. So Leo's in the south node, or south node's in Leo, and then north node's in Aquarius right now. So what else about High Priestess and balance? Is it your balance that they're after? That you're even keeled and they're not? Like, you can't just take that from someone. You have to do the work. I don't even know how you would take that from someone. Maybe that's what they're trying to do with spell work? But that's emotional work, just in the wrong lane. Temperance, okay, balance. And emphasis on 14. The High Priestess is 14 here. Temperance is 14. And we also have Knight of Wands in reverse and Knight of Pentacles in the upright. I think I saw this combination in the last reading that I used this deck in. That the Knight of Wands is like the true nature, and the Knight of Pentacles is who they want to be. And there's nothing wrong with being a Knight of Wands. Can be a very fiery energy, can be hot-headed. It's learning to coexist with your own nature. Like, my most challenging mode when it comes to PTSD is fight mode. Had to learn a lot about coexisting with that mode rather than trying to fight against it, trying to repress it, because it just becomes emphasized. It's like a animal in a cage when you try to suppress that. It's this strength card here. Taming the beast. And becoming buddies with the beast, because there's a little cat down there too. Cat doesn't look stressed out. Not the whole lion. So they want your balance because they want to be a Knight of Pentacles. You can't skip the work, though. That's the slowest knight in the deck. You have to go through the whole process. But the vibe, too, though, is that they're mad at you that this isn't working. And from what we've been seeing in recent readings, they're doing something to interfere with their path, your path, as a result of that. And maybe this is also interfering with their path, because you can't just control someone. That's a real problem. Like, I think it's a criminal problem. I'm not a lawyer, though. So, what's the deal with this anger towards you? I just got such an icky vibe. This would be like a man refusing to accept defeat because it was a woman. Like misogynistic, just gross energy. And it's like, be mad about it. Get over it. My goodness, like what year is it? So what's the deal with this anger? Just taking the bottom one. Bathing in the river, self-care. They don't want you to take care of yourself. That's weird. That's a weird thing to want. I'm just going to give a trigger warning because it brought to mind this little viral post that I saw doing the rounds yesterday. It's on the, what's his name? The red flag guy. He runs by with the giant red flags. But there was a woman who she called CPS on her best friend because of the way the stepdaughter was being treated, and a lot of criticisms were the length of time that it took her to act because of what the daughter was being put through. And what it brought to mind was like she was forbidden from bathing for weeks at a time, and has somehow now managed to end up back in the custody, I think, of those people. I don't know. Seems like a pretty bad case. But it's something like that. Like the anger is leading to potentially even abusive behaviors. And if that's happening to you, please take care of yourself. Disregard what this person says. If you're living with them, it might be time to start planning an escape quietly, privately. Don't announce that for your own safety. Anybody interfering with basic stuff, that's not okay. That can take a lot of forms. Because in that example with they called CPS, like that's adult to child. With adult to adult, it might look like things like sleep deprivation, so you can't function as well, messing with your products, stuff like that. Like, people don't realize how pervasive domestic violence is in an environment. It makes, like, it can make you freeze even reaching for something like toothpaste, something like that, because you don't know if they're gonna like barrel around the corner and freak out on you. It's really, really gnarly stuff that people get put through. But they're mad because they can't have, or their magic isn't working on you. Well, look at what you're trying to do. We've got the scythe, which is the like the death card. So an ending. Maybe this is coming to an end because the magic isn't working on you. So the situation is like coming to a natural close. Because they weren't able to achieve their goal. Maybe that's what they're mad about. Which, kind of hard to reason with somebody who is all fired up about not being able to successfully abuse someone. That's a concerning state of mind. So what about this bathing in the river and the scythe card? What? How is this coming to an end, or more about that? Routine? Like messing with your routine? Or your routine is what combats this? There's two scenes, I guess. One kind of going away and going towards. Are they stalking you? That's just what I got from that. Like going to and from. And people do not take stalking seriously. I think, is it Laura Richards? She had said something that stalking increases the risk of bodily harm by like 7-fold. Something like that. So be careful if that is something you think is going on or you know is going on. Certainly not to elicit fear. Anything of that sort. Just keep yourself safe, you know? Because there's headline after headline after headline of woman reports behavior, woman gets blown off, and then there's a Netflix documentary, you know? I did just watch that, A Toxic Love Story. That was really good. Really interesting. Not good for the people involved, of course. I don't want to be insensitive to that. It worth watching, though, for sure. I don't want to spoil it, because I hadn't heard about that case. So what about this routine? Eight of Swords in reverse. But this is the Prison card. But in reverse, it's getting out of that. So this is coming to an end. Good. It needs to. Because people don't realize how much that dominates your life. I had a stalker when I was a teenager. I had no idea how dangerous that person was until he accidentally picked up a girl that looked like me from my school, which I found out about from her. She was fine, relatively speaking. But just trying to think about that behavior, that someone is so focused on another person, they're not even living their own life. It's deranged. It's dangerous. I don't even know how to truly conceptualize that, because it's like their whole life becomes about tormenting another person for one reason or another, whether it's possession or punishment, that you broke free. Maybe this is like an ex, something like that. It's kind of a typical example. But it could be somebody that you rejected, that you're just not interested in them, and then they turn around and make your life a living hell. all because you exercised your agency, which is absurd. And then where's a protection from that? What, a restraining order? A piece of paper? Cool. Awesome. Not that those aren't important. They are in the legal process and all that. It's not going to protect you, though. I think, and this is just my personal, I'm not a lawyer opinion, I think the world would be a better place if all women learned how to throw an elbow. Just saying. Hands are delicate. And if you've never been in a scrap before and you hit somebody, you'll pull your punch on the second time because hands are very delicate and very sensitive. Elbows are tough. Just food for thought. So what about this Eight of Swords? Oh. Two of Pentacles in reverse. Out of balance. I mean, this will throw your life out of balance if you're having to modify your behavior because of a stalker. And I think that's the part that people don't take seriously. One of many. The impact that it has on your behavior and potentially long term. Because if you end up with PTSD, people seem to expect that that's just going to like go away after like 6 weeks or whatever. No, it fundamentally rewires your brain. It changes the way your brain works. That's been a persistent source of strife with my interactions with other people, that they seem to think the trauma is going to go away. It doesn't. This is a permanent deal. This is a lifetime sentence because of somebody else's choices. It gets more manageable, definitely. It doesn't go away, though. Like, if it were a visible disability, that would be like getting annoyed with somebody that their limb hasn't grown back yet. That's not how it works. It hasn't grown back because that's not what people limbs do. So maybe there's some of that going on in this situation. There's an imbalance with perception and actual, and people don't realize that how stalking can terrorize you just walking down the street. So what about this Two of Pentacles? And now it's so much easier to stalk people with online, all those various tools, things like that, and popping an air tag under somebody's car or something like that. I think that's a fairly common thing now, unfortunately. And I know for the Meta glasses, there's already like an app out to try and help people detect if there's like the Bluetooth signature from Meta glasses. And there's already safety tips coming out to tell women that if you think you're being recorded, start playing Disney music. Because Disney music is more protected than women are, because it's copyrighted. So then whatever like reactive abuse they're trying to do, trying to get like prove that women are evil by exercising our agency by saying no to a date and then posting that all over the internet, insane. This is insane behavior I'm seeing. What do we do about it? Ace of Wands. Oh, and there's the music notes. So yeah, maybe in the interim, while we're being failed by leadership, we can figure out things ourselves. And that's one of the things that really grinds my gears. Like, why Why am I having to do so much of what should not be my job, even though I'm already paying taxes? It's like double dipping, because I'm having to do the work and then pay them to do their work for them, because I have to figure this out myself. I have to figure out how to protect myself because I am worth less to my society than Disney music. It's gross. Like, why would you want a destiny swap with me? For real. That's what you want in your life? You want to mean less to the world than Disney music? Come on. So maybe trying to come up with ideas to combat whatever it is you're being forced to deal with. Because it's a means of control. That's what stalking is. It's controlling someone's life. And as we've been seeing in other readings, it's controlling access to a forward path. It's keeping somebody or somebodies in place. Because how many people go through this? How many people go through stalking and coercive control and domestic violence and just get blown off? It's such a shame. And what do we have to go against this with? Strongly worded tweets from elected leaders? No, I need results. I need real protection. So many of us do. We need means of recourse to actually go against these things when they happen, as they're happening, not years later. And when you try and get a restraining order, that's being approved through that judge's eyes. What if they don't take stalking seriously? What if they don't take domestic violence seriously? People are being held hostage by other people's beliefs, by these bottlenecks in leadership and authority and power, that it all flows to one person. What makes that person so special and qualified to oversee the literal lives of other people? Just saying. So what idea maybe is the spark that will move this along and close this out? Because the Ace of Wands, that's an idea card. Or is it clock chimes? Like the Kanaz rune. Creative flame. Maybe Brigid, if you want to do some work with Brigid. And it's actually bringing to mind voodoo. Not in the Hollywood voodoo is evil way, like colonizer coded. No. I mean, like Maman Brigitte, she's syncretized with Brigid. And it was just bringing to mind a scenario that, say somebody was doing this to me, right? And maybe they went all the way to New Orleans to find a voodoo practitioner, which would be a lot. That would be a lot of effort, but people be people in. So they go over to New Orleans, find a practitioner, and then fail to tell them that I'm Irish. That is an ancestral betrayal. That could be a reason why magic wouldn't be working, because they didn't fully contextualize the person that they were going after. Because there's the background with the Irish and the Haitian Revolution. But it could be something like that. Like the magic isn't working. Whatever triangulation, manipulation, perception isn't working because a major detail is being left out that hampers a thing from the beginning. Cloak and dagger, deception. They're leaving something out. So the idea that brings us to a close isn't necessarily what's there, it's what isn't there. It's what's hidden. What isn't being said. He's got that glowing knife behind her back giving her a hug. That's that deception. Kind of looks like there's a crow or something on the branch back there. But it's like leaving important details out that guarantee failure. And I mean, it would be up to the practitioner to like do divination and such, but if they don't do that on, say, me, and then they find out that it was left out that I'm Irish, now that practitioner is going to be mad at whoever hired them. That you're invoking some wrath. The all-seeing eye, the eye of providence. Maybe they did do divination and they know they're being lied to. And that could be if it's like triangulation and a smear campaign, something like that, leaving out that they did something to you. Like you guys parted ways or got into a fight or something like that because they did something, but then they want to trash your name and, you know, protect the perception and blah, blah, blah. So what about this cloak and dagger? I don't know what this person's deal is, but they seem kind of all over the place. They want your destiny, which I don't know how they know what your destiny is. Maybe it's just your individual expression, that Aquarian nature, trying to take that from you, trying to take the emotional work off of you so they can try and skip that. Want to control you for some reason. And again, it could be misogynistic, like, this is just a vibe. I don't agree with this at all, obviously, I think. But it'd be like, women need to stay in their place. Something like that, you know? Some sort of discriminatory. They're doing the Lord's work or whatever system they're misappropriating to oppress people. Ghosts. This is, what was it? Is it Samuel? The Witch of Endor? Like going to the witch for divination and then crucifying her or whatever they did because she was engaging in necromancy and divining with spirits. It's like, pick a lane here. What's your problem with this person? Because you obviously want a skill set they have, but you don't have the stones to be that in the light, but you want to steal their life force from them, essentially. Because how draining is it to be like the battery for somebody else? Like, you might have heard the term energetic vampire. This would be a case like that. Like, they're trying to siphon something off of you. A skill set, an outcome, maybe money, something like that, for their benefit, leaving you drained. But they're also hurting a bunch of people in the process, being deceptive. And for what? For why? What is this person's deal? Queen of Pentacles? For a harvest? For money? There's a bunch of kitties in this one. The Queen of Pentacles. So they want the material outcome that's supposed to be yours. Like, look at this chest. It's overflowing with gold and cats. So you can get more cats. Get stuff for the cats. Like a scammer. They're, at least at a minimum, they're very scammy if they're lying to their flying monkeys, their practitioner, everybody. And I do get the sense, too, from the water scry I was doing earlier, that when someone isn't useful anymore, they discard them. It's like, unless you are actively contributing to this outcome of trying to do magic on this person, destiny swap with this person, then be gone if you're not part of the cause. This would be somebody who would freak out on someone in the group who finally stood up and was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be harassing this person. We can all just do a puzzle together. You know, a little tabletop gaming, something like that. You can do something else. I feel like a good rule of thumb, if something can't be changed within a day, it's probably not a good idea to comment on it, depending on your closeness with that person, because they know about it, you know, they know what's going on. And it can be in bad taste, you know, if it's something about their health, their weight, anything like that. But if it's about their behavior, if they've got some like schmutz on their shirt, something like that, that can all be addressed right now. That can be addressed today. That can be commented on. So what about this Queen of Pentacles? Like the underlying emotional issues that are causing this person to do these things, that is probably going to take longer, but they can stop. Like, stop with the behavior, or just stay away from people if you can't, and then find some help for whatever is going on. And it's migraine season for me. I feel like I'm having more issues with, like, S's, saying S's. I've been having more migraines. The Hanged Man, but it's in reverse. They don't want to give up their perspective. They're like determined that this is the evil witch. Right as that clock chimes. That maybe you're an evil witch. Something like that. But maybe you're like me. And you completely stay in your lane. You don't cast on other people. Like, I don't even cast on my cat. Is the way that I view it is that she cannot consent. She can't consent to that. What if I'm asking, and this is just an example, what if I am asking for extended life? Something like that, you know, more time. That could potentially leave them in more pain, you know? You don't necessarily know things that are going on until you know they're going on, you know? It's like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I just don't... If they can't consent, do not. Like, just don't. And this person is chained. There's chains on their hands and their feet. And there's locks on them too, like as if this person could get out, but they look very serene. So maybe you are trapped in a situation and you have found peace within chaos, which is not an easy task. And people can be really insensitive about that, about how painful of a process that was, how much you had to endure. We really got to stop praising trauma victims on how well they take punches and how stoic we remain in the wake of that. That's a trauma response. If we're not reacting, we might be disassociating. So, I don't know. I just get so tired of that language. Like, and it provides kind of a shield for bad behavior to hide behind, and not ours, but the abusive people. Because if we immediately change a narrative to you're so strong, you're so resilient, so this, and that, we forget to point the finger at the person who not made you, I don't like the way that came out, but did things that you responded to by rising up. And it gets kind of lost in the narrative, and they don't get to hide behind your strength and your resilience. That's yours. You were who made you strong, not the trauma. And they deserve their spotlight for what they did to somebody else. Wasn't Miley Cyrus? I wasn't talking badly about you. I was talking about what happened to me. If it made you look bad, well, it is what it is. And the trauma of victims being silenced because the other person doesn't want to look bad, I feel like they've forfeited that right to their managing their perception. Because what did they do to the person with trauma? Who they traumatized? Made them look insane? Made them look crazy? All the reactive abuse manipulated the perception of them. What gives them a right to tidy up their image, to suddenly have privacy and be treated with respect and dignity? They didn't provide that. Why do they get it? That's how you can tell the system's broken. And for power, it ensures that abusive people still get to look good. And it forgets about what they're suppressing in people who have already been traumatized, which is re-traumatizing them. We do not have a trauma-informed system at all. Just taking the bottom one. 10 of Swords in reverse. And this was the last card in the last reading too. My favorite. This one's pretty rough. So this one does look like a sunset, and that is my interpretation of the Rider-Waite. But there's the crow on the branch with the one feather falling, and there's someone running away. And the cat's hissing at them. This is the person who did the traumatizing. And in reverse, I see that as very similar, actually, to this Hanged Man in reverse. It'd be akin to like being skewered and having to wriggle your way out of that. Like, that's the kind of position this person has left you or whomever this is bringing to mind, the quote-unquote evil witch. They've left them in a position where they're skewered, in place, completely stuck, unable to move forward, and trying to escape. Like, she's reaching for her broom. She's trying to get out. And maybe if you've ever been in a rock bottom situation, that might be where you found your faith. I feel like a lot of us go through that, and that is really what the crow is bringing to mind for me. You know, my relationship to the Morrigan. And maybe you went or are going through something like that, where you're reconnecting with your faith in an extremely difficult situation. And that could be even used as fodder for this persecution campaign That, oh, they've changed so much, they're crazy now, yada yada yada. Have they even spoken to this person to contextualize what's going on? Are they even invited to that conversation? Or are these people that boundaries have been put between because they're not welcome? Maybe they put some of these swords in her back, and now she doesn't want them around. Good for her. Boundaries. And you don't have to explain your boundaries to anyone. People will, like, interact with you as if that's the case, as if they're owed an explanation. Nope. They were there too. If they can't figure it out, they can work through that as they need to work through that in whatever way works for them. It's not your responsibility to be their therapist and handhold them through how they hurt you. Not your responsibility to make someone else feel better about how they hurt you. You take care of you. You manage to get out of this upside down hanged man and reverse 10 of swords. That chest is yours. The spoils of war are yours. They are one. And that's exactly what we were talking about at the tail end of the last reading. That if and when you catch a break, that oxygen mask is for you. How long have you needed to put that on, you know? And I'm sorry if you're going through something as difficult as this. If someone is engaging in coercive control and stalking, and then they're mad at you that it didn't work. Also, stay all the way away from this person. They sound really volatile. Don't even give them a single chance. Just one more talk, just 5 minutes, just no. No. Don't even respond if you don't have to, if it's not like a co-parenting situation, anything like that. I would say, and this is just my opinion, if you're in a situation where you're being stalked, muting as opposed to blocking so that you retain the evidence, that could be prudent. Just something to think about. Parable and parabola tool. I really like the transition between these two songs. I get so annoyed when an app has like the break in between the two songs because it really throws off the groove. But what is this, Lateralis? I think is the album these are on. Or is it Parabola? Is it called Parabola? I don't remember. Tool. Maybe. Whatever you like to sit down and listen to. Since their albums are so long, I like to have a gummy and then grab either what crafting project I'm working on or coloring book or something like that and just kind of zone out, you know. Let my mind process all the busyness, and that might be something you need to do in a situation like this, to let your mind work through all the details kind of in the background, kind of smooth everything out, and bring the anxiety levels down. And I like to color with colored pencils, mostly because it's a very stress relieving activity for me because I color it like really intensely. So it comes out really bright and vibrant, and it's like a little form of alchemy. It's taking all that stress and all that anger and turning it into art. So very apropos for Tool. So whatever activity helps achieve that alchemical process for you, this might be the time for it. So overall, I hope this helps. Another that I hope it doesn't resonate, but if something did, I hope you found something helpful, and we'll see you next time.